there's an awful lot of chatter about this Bob Vylan guy, and honestly, it is useful, but only if we have the conversation go in the right direction. If we ever go in the wrong direction, then it only further serves to cement the narrative of the centre-right and frankly, in their continual betrayal of our country. So, Leo here is summarising the abstract, esoteric right-wing critique of Bob Vylan and his position at Glastonbury, like I did in my last video and my Twitter thread. As you can see, he's their kind of, dark saviour. And they genuinely express the frustrated contradictions of their own ethnicity and philosophy through people like him. And that's fine, we understand, that's fine. Apparently, as well, people were pointing out that, his name's Pascal Robinson Foster. So it's a weird sort of Stephen Yaxley Lennon on the other side, right? Pascal Robinson Foster. I don't know why I found that so amusing. But anyway, this has been going around, so apparently that's his name. Very interesting. Not really that relevant, though. What's relevant is that lots of people are like, okay, well, is he going to get arrested for what he said? And the Free Speech Union is like, well, we don't really think he should be. And to be honest with you, I agree, actually. In the same way that I don't think Lucy Connolly should have been arrested. Calling for death for an active military force that's on the opposing side of the war that you have an vested interest in, I actually don't think is a terribly controversial thing. Like, if Ukraine supporters were out there yelling death to the Russian army, yeah, that's fine. The Russian army's job is to bring death to the enemies of Russia, in the same way that the Ukrainian army's job is to bring death to the enemies of Ukraine. The same for the IDF and Hamas to the IDF. Like, whether you support either one or not, obviously the point of an army is to kill people and to secure and expand the power of the state to which it belongs. So it's not actually terribly controversial, especially if you're supporting the other side in the war that the army is currently engaged in, to call for the army's death. You're not calling for the death of civilians. This isn't something that's terribly controversial. And frankly, I mean, like, even if it was, if he was just calling death to Israelis more broadly, like, armies, they fight, they kill people. It's understandable. Civilians, okay, they don't fight, they don't kill people. Calling for the deaths of civilians is wrong. The calling for the death of the army is only wrong if you don't support the army. If you do support the army, if you don't support it and you're actively in a war against it, well, obviously you want them dead. Like, sorry, I just don't find that particularly shocking. But anyway, the point being is that they're not going to get charged. I mean, Kneecap didn't get charged when they said, look, kill your local MP and all the other things that they've said. Like, then he's not going to get charged, and nothing's going to come of this, right? Nothing legal is going to come of this. And to be honest with you, it shouldn't. Saying kill your local MP is a million times worse than saying abstractly death to the IDF, and yet nothing happened for them. Nothing's going to happen to Bob Vylan. But I do find it really amusing how Kneecap got totally overshadowed by this. No one's talking about Kneecap. No one cares. All right, white boys, go back to Ireland. No one gives a shit. Like, you are not the most controversial thing to have come out of Glastonbury. I know you thought it was your big day, but actually you're not really that important. But the thing is, then you get the Conservatives being like, oh, this is what we mean by two-tier justice. How about you just shut your fucking mouths, all right? 14 years in power, and this is what you've left us with? You could have done anything to change all of this, especially after Boris. He could have done anything he wanted, and you didn't do a goddamn thing. And so now we're at the point where this is just normal, this is the way things are. You were happy to live in a two-tier society as long as you were at the top of it. And now you're the second class. No, you're not even the second class. You're like third or fourth in the polls at this point, right? So no sympathy at all. Go away. You absolute, like, it's just insufferable to have so many knives in the back. I mean, like, have the Conservatives even apologized for the Boris wave? Because Boris said, literally, crank open the floodgates so the Financial Times will like him again. And it's like, listen, you need to have some accountability for this. Like, it would have to be something like 2/3 of the current Conservative Party just get taken out into the street and ejected from the party. I'm not going to go any further than that. But the point is, you don't say two-tier justice. You brought about the two-tier justice, right? You were happy with the ethnic laws against the English people, the hate speech laws. The hate speech laws that are never used when it's a minority. It's only used when it's a white English person, right? So fuck off, conservatives, right? And then you've got this. So he gets up and tells his stage about his Zionist boss of the music industry, and he didn't like him. And obviously very thinly veiled anti-Semitic commentary, right? So he got dropped by the United Talent Agency. And so people are mocking him like, boo-hoo, you want your contract back, shut the fuck up. But the thing is, I don't think this is very important at all. Like, this is a very particular parochial issue for the bosses of the United Talent Agency, which happen to all be Jewish, right? So obviously, if he comes out with an anti-Semitic rant, yeah, the Jewish bosses at the talent agency are going to, like, piss off. But that is not the story here, right? And unfortunately, the main story is being used as the punchline here. It's like, no, when he says, you want your country back, boohoo, shut up, right? He admits it's our country that he has taken from us. And that's not acceptable. That's the real salt in the wound, that's being rubbed in our faces. This is exactly what Tony Blair's administration was trying to do. Rub diversity in the face of the right and render their arguments out of date. Well, yeah, you've rubbed diversity in our face so much that the arguments from the left are becoming out of date. And so this is, as Morgoth pointed out, the arguments from the left just don't hold anymore because everyone can see the animus. You can't paste it over anymore. You can't be like, no, that's not representative. Actually, they're here to integrate, guys. They're here to become British citizens. They hold British values. And then you've got this fuck on the stage being like, I hate the English and I want them to die. That's, in fact, my entire music career. Like, the song he was singing was recorded back in 2020, right? The talent agency had no problem with this. Absolutely no problem with this at all until he started being anti-Semitic. So it's not that, like, they're doing the right thing. It's not that they're on our side. It's that they're on their own side, and they were quite happy to platform this guy right up until the point where he was like, I hate my Zionist boss. So, sorry, like, the far right are actually right about this, right? They're only outraged that he blasphemed against Israel and Jewish people, and they didn't care when he was rubbing it in the face of the English, saying, you don't deserve your country, we're not giving it back. So I'm sorry, I'm not on board with having it like, yeah, no, our lives for Israel, but also shut up and rub it in our face. And people are like, oh, what about the contradiction of him saying you can't have England back, but Palestine for the Palestinians? It's like, listen, he doesn't care about the contradiction. The contradiction is irrelevant to this guy. Bob Vylan hates you and hates Jews. Okay, yeah, I got it. I totally understand. Let the talent agency take their decisions as they want from their perspective as Jewish people dealing with someone who hates Jews. I'm going to have my perspective as an Englishman dealing with someone who hates the English. It doesn't mean that we're on the same team. It doesn't mean that we're the same. It doesn't mean we're buddies, but it means we just have a similar enemy. And of course, the Conservatives ended up on the wrong side of the issue. Kemi Badenoch, glorifying violence against Jews isn't edgy. Kemi, he was talking about an active military force, one of the best in the region, actually. I mean, like, if they could bring death to the IDF, they would, but they can't, because the IDF keeps curb stomping them whenever they've had wars. So it's not even dramatic. Like saying the West is playing with fire if we allowed this sort of behaviour to go unchecked. But singing the song about how we've taken your country and you're not getting it back, that's not playing with fire, Kemi. Is that the case? I mean, honestly, right? A cynical person might say, well, of course, she's part of the people who are holding our country hostage. I'm not saying that, because I don't think that's entirely fair. I don't think Kemi's that smart to think that she's doing that. But this is where the Conservatives are on that. Bob Vylan's performance at Glastonbury was grotesque because it was incitement against a Jewish army, the Israeli army. And it's like, no, I don't care about the Israeli army. Like, the Israeli army is an army. If anyone is capable of defending themselves, it's them. So why are we like, oh no, not the Jewish army? Like, no, it's not about the IDF. This is not about the IDF. This is about the fact that literally we're getting it rubbed in our faces that we're second-class citizens, and the Conservatives are like, well, I can't believe he would insult the IDF over it. And then you've got people like Jake Shields. Like Jake, I don't think it's unfair to say that he's like a very public anti-Semite at this point. And so he says, thanks to them freaking out, I added Vylan to my playlist. F all these cowards who aren't calling out Israel. And it's like, mate, the enemy of your enemy, in this case, is actually still an enemy, right? Just because he also hates Jews in the same way you hate Jews and Israel doesn't mean that he is not every bit as poisonous towards just European people of European descent, white people. Like, he's explicit about it. He writes songs after song after song hating the native white British population. And you're like, yeah, I'm adding him to my playlist. How about this guy gets fucked, all right? It's just really, really stupid and monomaniacal, like just totally tunnel visioned on your part. To be like, oh yeah, well, you know, this guy hates Israel, though he must be a buddy of mine. I'm going to listen to his music. Go on then, listen to his music about literally him over and over and over going, I hate the white British, I hate the white British, I hate the white British. They're not getting their country back, we've stolen it. I mean, do you support that? Do you support ethnic minorities stealing our country from us? I don't think you do. And so why are you just like, yeah, this guy's my friend now because the Zionists at his talent agency are really pissed off at him? I don't... Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The real story here is that we unironically had this broadcast everywhere, and this is just so interesting because the thing about this is that this has been the message from the establishment for the past 30 years. No, it's not your country anymore. It's everyone's country. It's a diverse, multicultural country, and you're not having it back. And that is the way things are. And the only reason this guy got punished is because of his anti-Israel sentiments. And that's just not on, is it? Like, I don't care that he's for or against Israel. I'm not in any way interested in Israel. I'm interested in the fact that this is actually just a part of the mainstream narrative, and he can get songs made about it, he can get on Glastonbury stage with it, he can have a career with this talent agency using it, and right up until the point where he turns on the Israelis, and then it's like, well, we've got to do something about it, right? It goes to show that this is still a two-tier society. It will always be a two-tier society until it ends up putting the British people first and considering them to have primacy and jurisdiction in their own native land. That's the important part out of all of this. And like I said, I don't support him saying death to the IDF. I don't care. I'm not for or against the IDF. But it's an army. It's an army. It fights. It goes around. It's doing things that a lot of people don't like. So it's kind of understandable that people who are against Israel would be like, yeah, I don't support their army, and I kind of wish they'd all lose wars and get killed. Right? That's not a surprising sentiment. What is a surprising sentiment is the fact that the Conservatives can't find any hay to be made with this statement, right? That statement is the most important statement. And if you can't understand that as Conservatives, then you're not really worthy of the name, are you?